Yeah, some technical issue. I'm not able to share my screen. So you can keep your pen and paper with you and you can note down the points, right? If it works, let me rejoin again. Okay, is it okay now? Let me
Yes,
start
ma'am.
again. Okay, I know what's happening. Okay, so till now we have discussed about the structure of the different tribunal, and we have discussed that how the National Company Law Tribunal and National Company Law Appellate Tribunal has come into existence, how these have been established, what is the difference between the two, what will be the composition of the members in that case. Along with that, there is we can say that what will be the qualification of the members, judicial members, technical members, how they will be appointed, and what will be how the selection of the members will be done, and for how long they will hold the term, or they'll hold the office as per the members and the chairman. Now, when we come to next, so we have to discuss that what will be the powers of these in case of these tribunals, and how they are going to handle the different situations in a particular scenario. So, in this case, the first thing is that the powers of the tribunal may be exercised by forming the bench, and the president have the authority for the formation of the bench, and the bench will comprise of one chairman, judicial member, and the technical member. So the president of the tribunal have the authority to create the bench, and for the different situation, different scenarios, these bench shall be created. Then after that, whatever is any dispute or any plea is being filed by the party, then that particular party will be presented before the particular bench, and they have the option that they will be being heard, and the decision will be taken by the bench as it thinks fit. So the tribunal shall have all the power to take the decision and as well as to review its decision. The decision will be taken by the bench, and also the tribunal shall have the power to review its own orders. So, review of the orders is also the power of the tribunal. Then after that, if there is the from the decision of the tribunal, the particular aggrieved party is not satisfied, then there can be possibility that they can file an appeal before the appellate tribunal, because earlier also we have discussed that appellate tribunal is having the higher jurisdiction or higher authority. So in that case, for at the first time, the evidence and the details will be presented before the tribunal, and after that, the decisions will be reviewed. And if there is no satisfaction of the decision, then they can apply appeal to appellate tribunal, and even if the decision, the satisfaction is not there, then they can go to the supreme court. Sorry, high court को तो replace कर दिया हमने tribunal से. Then there is one more condition requirement which we have already discussed, कि किसी भी एविडेंस या जो हमारा कोड ऑफ सिविल प्रोसीजर है, तो उसके साथ द योर ट्रिब्यूनल्स आर नॉट बाउंड. They are going to take the decision on the basis of the natural justice. So even if this is beyond the civil court procedures or certain evidences, etc., still there is the tribunal is empowered to take a call or to take a decision on the basis of the natural justice. And also there are any we can say the rules can be formed, and the central government is empowered that the rules for tribunal and appellate tribunal, these can be given by the central government. So they are empowered to make the rule with respect to the powers, with respect to the functioning. The tribunal and appellate tribunal shall have the power to regulate their own procedure. So this is very important feature, that they can regulate their own procedure. Right? Then after that, there is again all the other powers which are vested as per the civil code of civil procedure. The same powers will be given to the tribunals. So we can say that the same powers under code of civil procedure 1908 are with the tribunals. And also, along with this, they are not bound by the rules. They can go with the natural justice rule. Also, they are empowered by the central government to make their own rules and to regulate their own procedure. So these are the important features, or we can say the requirements, which says that the how much power or how the tribunals are going to work. Then there can be the other circumstances, that if we talk about code of civil procedure, so there are certain matters on which the civil procedure is giving has given the rights to the tribunals. So if there is a situation of issuing the summons against some person for doing the wrong thing or present before the court of law, so similarly the summoning and enforcing the attendance of any person and examining that person, this is we can say issuing the summon and compulsory attendance before the court of law, so we will say before the tribunal, and also examining on oath is the this particular you must have seen or you must have observed that this is the process. So in this particular case, the tribunal is also empowered to act in these cases as well. Then there can be for carrying out any of the procedure if any documentation is required, or if we talk about the there can be the procedure or production of document. So this particular action or the order can be given by the tribunal as well, production of documents. So in this case, what happens that generally certain documents are private, certain documents carries personal details, etc. But for carrying out the course of justice, any documentation, any discovery, etc. is required, then the tribunal have the order to ask for those documentation and also for the production of the documents. Then secondly, we must have heard about the term affidavits. Affidavits are the legal documents or on stamp paper wherein whatever we are writing or we are committing, we are legally required to be abide by that. So if the any evidences are needed in form of the affidavits, the court of law, sorry, the tribunal have the right to ask for those evidences in form of affidavit. So evidences can be demanded by the tribunals. It is empowered. Then we must be, because when you'll go with the special, we can say that the field or the specialization in the law itself, so you are going to come across the various procedures or various acts which will help you to carry out the judicial procedure. So Indian Evidence Act 1872 is one. So how the in the Contract Act or in the business law, you must have studied only that the situation should be there, or this should be done or this should not be done. But how it is to be done, how it is to be presented, how it will be taken into account, all these things are, you know, done with the support of the different acts with respect to the presentation of the same. So Indian Evidence Act is one of them. So in as per the Indian Evidence Act 1872, if any public record, any public document, or we can say that the copy of such record or document from any office, then that can be demanded by the tribunal. Any document, or we can say that any record from office, that can be there. So here we can take the examples, say that certain documents are the public documents which can be taken, but certain documents are private documents, these cannot be taken. So if I have to take the, say, bank statement of Mr. A, that is not possible. But if it is going on under procedure, some case is going on, or some, or if we talk about the personal call records, these are the personal, things. So these are not to be kept available. No one has the right to have access to that. But in case, as per the Indian Evidence Act, for carrying out any legal or judicial proceedings, if you require it in a form of any evidence, be it the public record, any document, or any record from the office, the tribunal is empowered to demand those. So that can be possible. Then there can be the examination of witnesses and documents. So whenever the procedure is going on, then examining the documents or the witnesses is the tribunal is empowered for that. So this is in the power. Then also, if there is any situation where the decision is taken by the tribunal or any other party, so reviewing of decision is also in the domain of the tribunal. Then, if there is any kind of representation or any default is there, so the tribunal is empowered to dismiss that representation for default. So that can be dismissed. So not considering and all this is also empowered by in the jurisdiction of the tribunal itself. Any order made by the tribunal or appellate tribunal is enforced by that tribunal in the same manner as if it was a decree made by a court in a suit pending therein. So it means any direction or any decision of NCLT or NCLAT. This has the same thing as the decision given by the court. So there is no difference. So no, we can say that it cannot be there that these are not abide by. So the parties are required to abide by as if this particular decision is given by the court, because the existence of these tribunals is for the purpose of carrying out all these settling all the disputes, and the instead of high courts, the tribunals are being empowered to carry out the same process and procedure. Then after that, there is one more thing, that you have taken the decision. So in this case, no civil court can entertain any suit or any dispute which comes in the jurisdiction of NCLT and NCLAT. So it means that there is civil courts are restricted not to entertain or not to take any proceedings which falls in the jurisdiction of NCLT, National Company Law Tribunal, और नेशनल कंपनी लॉ अपालत ट्रिब्यूनल। तो इनके जुरिस्डिक्शन में जो भी केसेस आते हैं या जो भी डिस्प्यूट सेटलमेंट की एरियाज हैं, उस केस में कोई भी सिविल कोर्ट इंटरफेयर नहीं कर सकती या उन केस को टेकअप नहीं कर सकती. These will not have any kind of validity. Then lastly, if there is any grievances out of the decision of tribunals, then the aggrieved party has right to go to Supreme Court. So they can apply or they can file their appeal in the Supreme Court in case of any grievances. So if we talk about the high courts, so in case of the tribunal or in case of the company law disputes, high courts have been taken by the jurisdiction is given to the tribunals, right? So I hope up till now the powers and procedures of the tribunal and the appellate tribunal is clear to all of you. Then after that there comes the what are the powers vested with the National Company Law Tribunal. So if we talk about the powers, so there are which are the areas or to which the particular tribunal can take over. So there are class action suits, which can be taken up by the tribunal. There can be in a situation of deregistration, that can be taken up by the tribunals. There can be, if there is any kind of dispute with respect to the operation and mismanagement in the company. So if any suit is being filed, so for the remedy in case of operation and management, this can be taken up in case of operation and management. Then in case of if there is any kind of difficulty or any problem where the transfer of shares, the person is facing some issue or some problem, so this can be case can be filed or presented before the tribunal. If there is any difficulty with respect to the deposits with the company, so in that case, the shareholder members can file a case. If there is any kind of, reopening of accounts or revision of financial statements, so in that case also the tribunal can be contacted. Reopening and revision of financial statements. Then if there is any kind of any organization or any authorities have given the order with respect to the investigation against the company, or investigation with respect to the ownership, etc. So there can be, this particular can be case can be filed or presented before the tribunal. So चाहे वो investigation in journal हो या with respect to the ownership हो. If there is the situation where the assets of the particular company has to be freezed, though in that case the tribunal is empowered to do so. Then after that, there can be, in case of in case of insolvency, in case of dissolution. So insolvency and bankruptcy कोर्ट के अंदर आपका जो empower जितने भी rights हैं, that is tribunal is empowered or have the power to exercise all those roles. इंसॉल्वेंसी एंड बैंक्रप्सी कोड 2016 से रिलेटेड जितने भी आपके रूल्स रेगुलेशंस हैं, इसके लिए आपके ट्रिब्यूनल एम्पावर्ड है. Then in case if AGM or EGM of the company is to be convened, we'll be discussing in detail in the meetings chapter that what are the rules for conducting the annual journal meeting and extraordinary annual journal meeting, what are the different rules, how it is to be done, when it is to be done, how it is to be carried on, all these things will be there. Then if there are any kind of the offences, though related to the offences, tribunals can be contacted, or if there is any change in the financial year, then in that case the tribunal is empowered to deal with the particular situation. If we talk about the power of the company law tribunals, then in that case this it is empowered with respect to the following cases or following situations. All the decisions, all the appeals, all the grievances, all will be dealt by the tribunal itself. Now we move to the last topic of today, that talks about the special courts. Now my friends, when we talk about the special courts, so special courts means that if we talk about the generally the high courts or the supreme courts or all the civil procedures, so we know that the number of appeals and the number of grievances are there which are being dealt with. But if we talk about with respect to the body corporates, so certain situations are there where the decision is to be taken very quick, very fast. So matching with the requirement of the cases and the number of the available courts, so it was difficult to map up. So to speed up the process, the special courts have been made specially for the as per the Companies Act 2013, and the basic this purpose of special court is to meet with the speedy trials. That is, the decision could be taken fast and grievances can be handled quickly. So as per the Companies Act 2013, it is said कि सारे और all the we can say the offences which are punishable with the imprisonment of punishable with the imprisonment of 2 years or more will cover under the jurisdiction of the special court. Punishable with imprisonment of 2 years or 2 or more years. तो जितने भी ऑफेंसेस हैं पनिशेबल इन द एज पर द कंपनीज एक्ट, तो जितने भी दिस इज द स्पेशल कोर्ट्स आर एम्पावर्ड to go with the special speedy trial and disposal. For quickly this there is application and the decision is taken and the things can be managed at a fast pace. So जितने भी offences आपके punishable होंगे with imprisonment of 2 or more years, this will be covered under this special courts category. Then, if we talk about the sections as per law, so section 435 to 446 are dealing with the role of the special courts, and in this particular situation, the all the other offences shall be tried as the case may be by the metropolitan magistrate or judicial magistrate of the first class having jurisdiction to try any offence other than under this act or under the previous company law. तो इट मीन्स दैट स्पेशल कोर्ट्स का जो रोल है वो आपका ज़्यादा है कि 2 years से ज़्यादा इम्प्रिजनमेंट वाला. इसके अलावा अगर कोई और other offense hai where the we can say that the imprisonment of 2 years is not there. So in case of these other offenses, these can be tried in the courts where the metropolitan magistrate or judicial magistrate of first class is going to take up these cases. Judicial magistrate first class, they are going to try any other offences or any other offence other than these particular Companies Act 2013 or any previous law shall be dealt by this, and all the offences which are punishable under this as per this provision will be covered by the special court. Now, what is the composition or how the special court comes into existence? So, when we talk about the special court, in the special court, there is going to be the one judge who is appointed by the central government, single judge who is appointed by central government, right? And this with the concurrence of Chief Justice of the High Court, within whose jurisdiction the judge to be appointed is working. So this condition is given under section 435 subsection 2. So we have to remember this particular law. Then we say that the special court must be a person holding an office of the session judge or additional session judge. So the judge of the special court, one point is that the single judge appointed by the central government. Second is that there is the concurrence of the Chief Justice of India, concurrence of Chief Justice of High Court of India, and another thing is where it is said that this particular judge must be holding the office of your session judge and additional judge, session judge or additional judge. So they must be holding the office in this particular capacity. So this is given under section 435 subsection 3. Then, if we talk about the other than this, so exercise whatever powers are given by the Companies Act. Along with that, the central government is obtaining the concurrence of Chief Justice of High Court. So, existing courts, special courts in the different states, be it Maharashtra, Rajasthan, Punjab, Meghalaya, or any other state. So, they have been designated as special court with their consent. So, in the different states, these special courts have been made for the purpose of trying the offences related to where the imprisonment is 2 years or more. And as per the notification, these courts have been designated for the same purpose. So, these special courts have been, made in the different areas or different things. Let me see if any query is here. Any query? Okay, let's continue. So then next there comes, other than the existence or establishment of the special courts, there comes that which are the offences which can be tried in the special courts. So the very first thing we have discussed about the imprisonment more than 2 years, all the offences are covered. Secondly, if there are any cases which are forwarded by the magistrate where he thinks that the detention is unnecessary for the offence committed in the Companies Act, then in that particular case, these cases will be transferred to the special court. So I would like to explain or discuss this point in detail, where it says that जहाँ पर आपका एक person, the person is arrested and the person has been taken into the person is arrested and detained in custody, and it appears that investigation cannot be completed in 24 hours as required by the CPC. There are grounds of believing that the accusation or information is well founded, and detention is authorized by the magistrate for a period of 15 days, as the case may be. In such cases, special courts have the power of the magistrate having jurisdiction or to try such case. So it means that if there has been a particular situation where a person has been arrested and detained in the custody, and where we have the complete well-founded information and acquisition, so there the decision, speedy decision is required. So in that particular case where the magistrate has detention is authorized for the period of 15 days or 7 days, so in that particular situation special court is empowered to take up that case. So this we can, second point we can remember as the detention case, right? The third situation can be that where the out of the trial of the police report, the of the facts constituting such offence or complaint has been filed on that behalf, so that can be we can say be are in the jurisdiction of the special court. So police report is there with respect to a particular offence, or there has been some complaint has been filed in this particular regard, so special courts are empowered to take up that particular situation in in that scenario. Then after that, if there are certain situation where the accused may be charged under the criminal proceeding code of criminal procedure, then in that particular case again the particular person can be taken by the we can say under the jurisdiction of the special court. And also if there is any offense which is punishable for the term not exceeding 3 years, but providing that the conviction of such trial or person cannot be sentenced for imprisonment for a term exceeding 1 year, so there the in that particular situation the trial special court can take into the particular trial. So imprisonment is more than 3 years, but such person cannot be imprisoned for more than 1 year. So that case can be taken by the special court. And lastly, if there is any kind of the high court have been granted the jurisdiction and special court within the local limit of the jurisdiction of high court, then the court of session trying judges can be within the local limit. So if there is any punishment or imprisonment or fine is there, then in that case these are compoundable only with the permission of the special court. So that we can say that the appeal can be filed अगर high court के साथ वहाँ पे काम कर रहे हैं, then they are required to work within the local limits. And secondly, if there is any imprisonment or fine is been there, so in any offences etc., so the compounding of both will be done only by the special court. So these were the we can say that the jurisdiction area or the powers of the special court. So if a short note comes on the special court, so along with mentioning the establishment area and domain where special courts can work, so you can write down it clearly that how the special court have come into existence for the speedy trial as such. Yes, please.